Hello, everyone. Welcome to the TradeStation Masterclass. My name is Jesus Nava. I'm the Director of Client Training and Education for TradeStation Securities. It's always a pleasure to be here, especially to talk a little bit about TradeStation. Today, we're going to talk about something simple. So we just want to make sure that you are aware of the technology and that it exists. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about web trading and some of the tools that are in there in the area of news, hot lists, and some of the settings that you can configure in web trading. Web trading is a web browser type of platform. All you need is a web browser to pull it up. And one of the benefits of using a web browser to pull up your TradeStation account is that you can do it from any computer, um, which is an advantage because you don't have to install TradeStation. Sometimes you're on the road. Um, let's say that you're using a tablet instead, that is not compatible with the TradeStation desktop. You can just load up a browser and you can, open up your TradeStation web trading platform there. Okay. Before we get started, here are some important disclosures. Just keep in mind that every symbol and idea that I talk about is for educational purposes only. These are not recommendations of TradeStation. Past historical performance is no guarantee of future results. And just keep in mind that active trading, it may not be suitable for everyone. For additional information on these disclosures, please visit our website, www.tradestation.com/important-information. So in order for you guys to open up web trading, as I said earlier, all you need to do is go to tradestation.com. Let me go ahead and increase the size of my browser just a tad bit. Okay, there we go. I think that's good enough. Maybe a tad bigger. Okay, so this is 150%. So on tradestation.com, what you need to do is you need to come over here to the login button and then click on web trading simulator or web trading live, depending on the environment that you want to connect to. You have the same two options on the desktop, so it just makes sense for you to have the two options on web trading. Anything you do on web trading that is order entry related will be automatically connected to your desktop, and it'll be automatically reflected on your TradeStation mobile app. This is one of the great benefits of having all these platforms interconnected with each other, so that you can, if you're in the morning working on your desktop and you're placing some trades in the morning, and then you have to go on the road or go to your office, then you can always check your trades by going to the web or pulling up your mobile app. So let me go here to a simulated trading environment, just to make sure that everything is an example, that is not real money. There's no risk involved. By the way, if you have any questions about the functionality or the setup, please feel free to send those questions in the chat. It's always great. It's always great to get questions related to the platforms. All right, so this is my web trading experience. Every time you use the same browser for web trading, it remembers the last time you were using it, and it should open up the exact same way. I'm not sure if I was looking at my web trading in exactly this particular way, but it's the way that came up for me. So I mean, you can manage anything here you want. And I believe there was an update to web trading that probably made my web trading look like this. But over here at the very top, you have a little button that allows you to select how many panels you want to have in your web trading platform. For the most part, I pick the simplest one, either the 2-panel on a horizontal way or 2-panel on a vertical way. Let me do it on the vertical way, 2 panels. That way I can have tabs on the left and tabs on the right. You can see that on my web trading, I have tabs on the right. I don't have any selections here on the left-hand side. Today, we said we're going to focus on news. So let me go ahead and open up a news tab over here. Perfect. So I already have a news tab here on the right-hand side that I can just close out and just leave. I have a matrix here that I'm also going to close out. Let me open up a chart instead. All right, so this is my chart. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to link my chart. Let me see if this works. So link, cyan, news link, cyan. when you link symbols like this, let me open up a watch list instead. So I'm going to go here to quotes. This is my Dow 30. All right. Let me go and link quotes as well. And I'm going to click on Apple right here and see what happens. Yeah, when you do that, you see how the news filter or the news tab here on the left-hand side automatically filters for Apple. All the headlines here either mention Apple or are about Apple. And you can do that very quickly with any of the symbols here by creating this convenient tab link. I'm linking quotes to my news. So if I want to see what's going on with Disney, I just click on DIS, and then my news articles here on the left-hand side are about Disney. So very cool, huh? Makes it very easy for you to filter down on news. Now, if you want to look at everything, I think all you need to do is click on the X here on this Disney dropdown. And when you do that, you get whatever category is displayed here on the left-hand side. Right now, it's set to top stories, no channels. Let me make this a tad bigger. I went to 150. Let me go to 175. All right, so this is the drop down right here. I feel like it's really cool because by default, it gives you the top stories, but then you can drill down and select the categories that you're really interested in. A lot of times, you know, getting top stories on everything is like a fire hose directed at you. There's a ton of information, and a lot of times traders are overwhelmed with the amount of information that's out there. So having the ability to come in here and narrow down the list of articles that you want to take a look at, I think there's a big benefit to that. So all categories and all channels, that would be the fire hose. The one here, top stories, of course, are filtered by top. But if I go to all categories and all channels, so let me go again, all categories, all channels. There we go. So you can see that we get news articles here 2 minutes ago, 2 minutes ago, 5 minutes ago, 7 minutes ago. So it seems like every single minute we're getting a new news article, which could get a little bit distracting. So if you just want to take a look at top stories, then that would be right here, top stories, no channels. Then you get only the news articles that are considered, you know, top stories. Of course, you know, this doesn't really help you if you have a position on a symbol that is not, you know, a very common company, you know, especially if it's a company that you found using hot list or something to that effect that had a, you know, good movement potential. If that is the case, you probably are not going to get news on that symbol if you go to top stories. But of course, if you go to all categories and all channels, let me do that one more time. All categories, all channels. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't seem to take. That's all categories right there. And if I filter by symbol, then I can do that. Let me go ahead and open up my hot list over here on the right-hand side. So I'm going to go to hot lists. All right, this is my percent gainers for today. Today is Monday, October 10th. We see right here at the very top, the symbol is APDN. I'm going to click on it. Oh, it's not linked. I'm going to go here. I was asking, why isn't it responding? Why isn't my news, you know, filtering? It's because I forgot to turn on the link. So I go here to the linking button and I turn it cyan and I click on this very top symbol. And this filters by that APDN. Now, over here, it may not be, you know, a news article directly associated with that symbol, like NASDAQ dips 150 points, gold down 2%. That doesn't seem like it's related to APDN. However, this one 40 minutes ago, why Applied DNA Sciences shares are trading higher by around 65%. Well, this one right here is 73%. This is an article that talks about Applied DNA Sciences, which is the symbol APDN, right now at the very top of our percent gainers. If I click here, I can see those gainers as an article. Does it say anything about them though? This is just a news article that points out to percent gainers and percent losers. Interesting. So it may not be an article about the stock, but let's go back to, I always get confused with these back and forward buttons, but these just allow you to cycle through all the different news articles that are out there. If I click on cycle through the articles, this next one, yeah, Applied DNA Sciences stock surges on largest linear DNA contract. So we get a little bit of information on what's going on. So why Applied DNA Sciences stock is soaring today? So this is really cool because I'm able to investigate and research on specific symbols that are meeting certain criteria. The hot list, of course, is a great application inside of web trading that gives you the top 25 symbols meeting certain criteria. But when you get symbols like this, like APDN, which is a symbol that I hadn't heard of before, now I have an understanding of what's going on with that symbol. And if it's a symbol that I would be, that I would consider for trading. Of course, I would be looking at other signals, looking at other profiles of the symbol, but at least I know that this is a company that deals with science, ADN to be DNA to be a little bit more specific. But the ability for you to come here and link your news window with your hot list provides you a little bit more information on these stocks. So I was saying that the back buttons are here a little bit confusing because these two over here allow you to cycle through the news articles within the news application. And if you really wanted to go back to the main view, you have this back button here on the far right. So this gives me the overall view. Again, I can delete the symbol so that it filters by all categories. And I was pointing out a few categories here. So here we have analysts rating, some ETFs, if you want to get news on ETFs. Let's see how many news tabs can I have here. Let me go here to news. So I can have multiple news tabs. So I can have one that is, filtered on government channels. So news related to government or news articles that are generated by government agencies. So let's go here to the other tab here, and I can set this to, let's say, general, and let's go and we want it to, I don't know, tech, general tech. If I go to the other menu, I'm not sure if you've noticed this, but if I go to, what I did is I went to general and I wanted to select tech here. Okay, it seems like it takes a couple tries for it to actually kick in. So I can have multiple news tabs set to different categories. Is there a limit to the number of news I can open? I believe there has to be. Let's see. I knew there's a maximum of 5 tabs per panel. So notice that there's no more plus here because I already have 5 news tabs. But then again, what's I wouldn't, see myself opening up multiple news tabs unless they're filtered under different categories, but not that many. It would be hard to keep track of news articles if you had, 12 news tabs open, right? So, okay, this is the one single news app. Feel free to use the filtering system here on the left-hand side. A lot of times I see traders just leaving their news window open. A lot of times this gives you ideas of what's happening out there. If you go to a little bit too restrictive on the news window, you may miss out on something that is major and something that is worth paying attention to. So sometimes what I do is I have a filtered tab, one single filtered tab, but then I have another one that is open to everything. So it's very quick for you to glance at a news window and see if it's something that is interesting or not. Our news provider at this moment is Benzinga. That's what we connect to. So all the news articles that you're getting are from Benzinga. We don't offer any premium news services at the moment. Many years ago, TradeStation used to offer the Dow Jones news service as a premium service. I'm not sure how good it was back in the days, but it was provided as an optional news outlet. Nowadays, I think news are pretty much open to everyone. So all these news outlets and providers are pretty much in line with providing timely news. So it doesn't really matter if you're paying or not. Everybody, for the most part, gets the news at the same time once it becomes public. I know that there are some platforms that probably are a little bit faster at posting these, and you probably know, some of some examples. I really can't say of any, but I know that there are traders, even TradeStation users, that have their favorite platforms to look for news. And but if you want something quick here instead of TradeStation, you can always have a news app. In fact, across all the different TradeStation platforms that we support, the desktop, web trading, and mobile app, I think the web trading does an excellent job at filtering news items and giving you the flexibility of filtering things in the news app. Not only that, but also giving you a different view. This one that I have here is partially graphics oriented, where you have a little bit of a picture on the left-hand side, and then you have a headline. You can strip all the pictures by going into this view, which is just a list of articles. You can get more news articles in view. And whenever you're interested in any of them, just click on them and it opens the article for you. Or go really highly graphics oriented with this middle button, which is, these big buttons on news. I think this is the default that the news window or the news app supports. I think I had set it on, the small picture one, because I like to see more news. But if you like to have big graphics, you can set it to this middle button, which just highlights the picture a little bit more. And then it's just the headline right on top of it. So those are the three views that you have on the top right corner. So that's the news tab. So we talked about the news. We talked a little bit about hot list. Here on the hot list, we talked about percent gainers, but you can very quickly just switch the activity and say, instead of percent gainers, I want to take a look at percent losers for one day. So there's always two extremes. You have the one that have changed the most, the positive side, and here's the top 25 stocks that have changed the most to the negative side. So we have the symbol SYTA that is down 57% from the close of the previous trading session, which I think it's, in this particular case, would be Friday. Let's see the chart here. So Mike is asking us, if you click on the news, this is what whales are betting on Airbnb. I'm not sure if you're referring to this chart. Look at the chart, or is that from TradeStation? On the other list, let's see. Not sure. Let me go back the original list, and we were looking at one in particular here. Let's see. Not really sure, Mike. Maybe because I have it set to, let me go to all categories then. Okay. Oh, this one right here. What are whales doing with Airbnb? Yeah, these graphics don't seem to be TradeStation, So biggest options spotted. We have some call options. So this chart right here, yeah, it doesn't seem to be TradeStation. No, it doesn't look familiar though. Sometimes I may be looking at a TradeStation chart and it doesn't look familiar just because the user has changed all the colors and the style, and because all that stuff you can change in TradeStation. So, but this one in particular doesn't seem like it's TradeStation. No, I doubt it. So, all right. So the hot list, as we said previously, very simple to use. You can do both extremes of any filter. You have multiple filters up here as well. You can use a hot list for stock options and index options. I believe the default is equities. And you can also filter by exchange if you want to do so. But I think that what matters, I think one of the most useful things is that you can link the hot list to other applications. If you wanted to take a look at a chart, if you wanted to take a look at news, I'm not really sure what's happening to this symbol SYTA and why it dropped so much, but we can take a look at, I'm not sure if this is it. So yeah, this is it. Siyata Mobile to raise $4 million via private institutional placement. I guess that news article hasn't done very well for that particular stock. Is down 57%. So if I wanted to see a chart on that, I just open up a chart here on the left-hand side. Let me link it to my hot list as well. That's YTA. Let's click here. And let's go here to a daily chart of this. All right, so here's our daily chart. And we can see that recently, the stock on Friday, the stock closed at 31 cents. Today, the stock it opened at 14 cents. So we see that huge drop. Of course, it's not a highly priced stock. So any price movement, of course, is going to be a big percentage of the original price. But it's interesting that we can, drill down into some of these symbols and find out what they are, what type of industry they're in, and the type of price movement and volume that is associated with these stocks. Yeah, the news are coming from Benzinga. Benzinga, that's the news provider. That's BENZIGA, Benzinga, ZINGA. That's where the news. That's TradeStation's news provider. Okay, let's talk about some of the settings here on web trading, which sometimes are overlooked. And since the news app and the hot lists app are kind of simple, very straightforward. There's not much to them other than what you see. So that's why I always like to link, hot lists with charting and link it with news so that we get a little bit more functionality here. Let's go to settings and talk about what is it that you can do to the web app platform. Well, we already know that you can change the layout and you can design and specify how many different panels you want to use. But here you have app settings, which I'm going to go over in detail. For example, you get 3 tabs: order entry, preferences. This is strictly linked to web trading. So if you already went to the desktop and you set your order entry preferences there, those are exclusive to the desktop. You'd have to do that here as well. Like, for example, if you're an options trader, I believe OptionStation Pro sets the default size to 5 contracts. If you want to start off with 1, you can change it. If that's the case here on web trading, you can go to the order entry settings and then change what the default quantity is going to be every time you bring up the trade bar. So this is default quantity, how the increment changes every time you click on the directional arrow, the type of order that you're sending as a default, and the duration that you're sending or using as a default. A lot of times, I'm not sure if I did this on my web trading, but if I'm on the desktop, most of the desktop orders that I place are day orders. So they get canceled at the end of the day. I'm not sure if I went in here and I changed them to GTC. So if you find yourself, placing a lot of price conditioned orders that maybe take just one session or even several sessions to trade, you may want to set your duration to GTC so that if you submit a trade, it stays on, longer than just today's session if that's what you want the order to do. Here, you can also disable confirmations or confirmations when you drag and drop, and also show the last size and route bid size and ask size. This little button right here it's added so that you can simplify the view. Because of regulations, we are required to show you the size of the last trade and the route. But sometimes that's a lot of information to see on the screen, so you have the option to hide it. And of course, the buying power warnings for all my accounts. If you just have one single account, you'll see it here listed, and you can disable those warnings if you feel they're a little bit, annoying. Sometimes if you're using margin, it'll tell you every single time you're using it for every single trade. And if you're aware of that and you want to disable those warnings, you can come here and do so. For appearance, very simple. You have two themes, a dark theme and a light theme. The default is dark because it goes in line with the TradeStation Desktop's default theme, which is also dark, but you can switch those to light. I know a lot of you are used to TradeStation or older versions of TradeStation where everything was a little bit lighter, and some people get used to that and they want to continue with that experience. But the light theme just changes everything and it looks very clear, very white. Okay, let's go back to settings, app settings, appearance, and I can change it to dark theme. On the chart, not many things you can do here. Just the default interval that comes up when you create a chart, the style of the chart, if you want to include the regular session or also the pre and the post market, some time settings if you want the local or, this here doesn't, the thing is that this is weird because it doesn't give you exchange time. It just gives you local or Eastern time. But let's say you live on the Pacific coast. So your local, of course, would be Pacific, and you have the option to set it to Eastern. But what if you were trading futures that are on Central time because they trade on Chicago? So I would rather have this say, local time or exchange time like the desktop, but it only gives you two options, either your local time or Eastern time zone, which a lot of the stocks markets, that's where they trade. Bars to the right, this is the space to the right-hand side, unimportant. A lot of times it's unimportant to users that don't require space to the right. But if you are going to bring in something like the Ichimoku cloud that needs space to the right, this is a big concern. Doc data tips. The data tips, let me show you where this is. I'm not sure if it's turned on or off by default, but I'll leave it on and show you where it shows. The data tip is when you click and hold on the chart. This is the data tips window. I have my docked so that every time I click and hold, it shows up here on the top left corner of the chart. If I had that feature turned off, let me go back here to settings, app settings, chart, dock data tips, and close. When I click and hold, the data tips shows exactly or to the bottom right of where I clicked, which some people like that too. You click and it follows your cursor if you click and hold and move it around, right? So that's settings, app settings, chart, dock data window. Let me go ahead and undock it since I like the fact that it follows my cursor. You can also show the watermark. That's just a symbol that shows in the background. That's a lighter shade of gray. And the crosshairs, if you want to see them or not, you have the option here as well. All right, so that's for settings. You have an activity timeout, which logs you off of the web trading platform if you leave it unattended for a period of time. So sometimes that's a safeguard, especially if you're using somebody else's computer and you forget to log out, there's no accidental trading on your account. So the inactivity timeout is turned on by default. But if you're the only one who uses that computer, sometimes it may be a little bit annoying because you may be trading on your web trading, turn around and do something else and then come back, and it may have disconnected you because you weren't doing anything. So I don't think you can adjust the inactivity timeout, but I think it's just a couple minutes that if you leave, your web trading unattended for 2 minutes, it'll log you out and then you have to log back in. No issues and there's no limitation to the number of times you can log out and log in. So it's not restrictive in any way, but if you feel like it's disconnecting you way too soon, you can come here and uncheck that. You do have a quick button to switch from simulated to live, so that's a cool thing. You can also click here to access help, or this little headset allows you to go to the live chat, so you don't have to leave the web trading platform to go to the website to chat with someone. You can do it directly from here, or if you want to suggest a feature, you can do it from here as well. Okay, that's it. That's all the information that I had for you guys. I don't see any more questions here in the chat. I told you guys that it was going to be a simple class, but I want everyone to be aware of all the different pieces of technology that we make available. Okay, so thank you for your attendance today. Thank you for your support of the TradeStation Masterclass, and I hope that I see everyone in my next class. Have a wonderful afternoon, everyone. Thanks for being here. Bye-bye.